Dwayne Bogey seemed to know everybody. There wasn't a famous name in theater that he just doesn't know. What a wonderful job. What a wonderful life. Well, folks, the United States Senate has agreed to an amendment that increases tax benefits for persons who, because of a job transfer, must move to a new area. And that's just in time for O.J. Simpson. Hey, what'd you think about the Russians' latest accomplishment in space? It came just about a year after the Soyuz 2. Remember the Soyuz 2? Did you ever figure out why they called it the Soyuz 2? Well, I think it's because when the cosmonauts got back to Russia, everybody said, I saw you 2 on television. And you remember when they parted in space, the Russians went one way and the Americans went the other way? Do you think that the Russians said to the Americans, goodbye? Or do you think they said, yank, go home? Hey, what do you think about the Viking spacecraft? Boy, that's become pretty famous. Yeah, now that it's back to Earth, I think probably it will run for the United States Senate, too. 100, rewinding Sony videotape 12. And we transferred this to 8mm on April the 29th, 1990, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Hi folks, how are you today? This is Glendora. A cheerful look at the news. The United States Department of Agriculture says that that the U.S. Department of Agriculture is predicting a bumper corn crop this year. And here I am. Did you hear that Senator John Glenn said that he wants every American to feel a part of the government? Well, I bet every time you see your paycheck, you feel that you're a part of the government. Folks, was it Ray Bolger who made the song famous, Once in Love with Amy, Always in Love with Amy? Maybe so, but the person who's making it alive again is who? Jimmy Carter. Did you hear that Earl Butz said that the current food stamp plan is an incentive for Americans not to work? But listen, some Americans are like me. I don't need an incentive not to work. It's an instinct. And now, for the 4th consecutive year, the United States birth rate is at a low, at an all-time low. And that's because there haven't been any additions to the Osmond family. Hi, folks. How are you today? This is Glendora. A cheerful look at the news, and this is August 4th, right? And it was just a month ago today that we were celebrating our 200th
July 4th. And there were the typical July 4th activities, you know, bike racing and watermelon eating and hula hoop spinning. And most of the kids ate too much watermelon, so they couldn't fit in their hula hoops. Didn't you think that Queen Elizabeth was a really good sport, though? She came over and on our 200th rebellion, a 200th year rebellion, and she gave us a what was it, an 18,000-pound bicentennial bell. And I haven't figured out yet whether that's how much it weighed or how much she paid for it. And then the Canastota wagons came from all over the United States to Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. The one that came the farthest, folks, was from the state of Washington. And the journey took 23 days. Can you imagine what a slow journey that must have been? I don't think it's quite as bad as getting a street though on a bus. Now, Glendora.
The Sony videotape 14, transferred to 8mm on April the 29th, 1990, Sunday, 8:15 p.m. This is a golf hat, folks, that WCBS TV Channel 2 gave me. I feel like Raymond Floyd in it. 3400, the Sony AV 3400, ready to go to work. And today we're transferring videotape 14, Sony videotape half-inch reel-to-reel, to 8mm. See, this was the last days, folks, of the reel-to-reel videotape as far as the half-inch format went, or as far as the 3/4-inch format went. Everything after this came out on cassettes. Of course, today, 1-inch in broadcast is reel-to-reel. So this is Sony videotape 14 is going to be transferred to 8mm, 2D, and this is May the 5th, 1990, Saturday afternoon at 12:45 p.m.
Well, I had a dispute, folks, that I settled by binding arbitration. I married him. Listen, don't you wish that the New York State Lottery would go back to giving you that prize? What was it? $2,500 worth of free groceries. Yippee! If you got $2,500 worth of free groceries, you could buy 2 jars of coffee, right? I'm so happy today, folks, on account of the company, you know, that my husband works for. They gave all the employees a free dental plan. Isn't that terrific? A free dental plan? But it doesn't include the toothpaste. I saw a woman yesterday in the grocery store, and she said to me, "You look better in person than you do on television." She says, "That TV doesn't do you justice." I explained to her, "It isn't justice I need, it's mercy." In 1977, have you noticed, folks, that people are talking as much about airbags as they were in 1976? But you probably thought it was pretty appropriate to talk about airbags in 1976 on account of it was an election year. Glendora, keep the courage flaming, folks. You've been hearing on the news about all these labor disputes that have to be settled by binding arbitration, right? Well, I had a dispute that I settled by binding arbitration. I married him. You know, a lot of the state lotteries, have you noticed, are giving as a prize $2,500 worth of free groceries. Gee, I hope you win that. With $2,500 worth of free groceries, you can afford 2 jars of coffee, right? A lot of parents like you are thinking that their kids are growing up and they don't know enough geography. I think the kids today know a lot of geography, don't you? There's the Green Bay Packers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Los Angeles Rams. Glendora, keep the courage flaming, folks. Hey, folks, this is Glendora with a cheerful look at life. How are you today? Hey, we're talking this year as much about airbags as they were in 1976, but you probably thought it was appropriate to talk about airbags in 1976 on account of it was an election year. I'm here.
Just a little dab will really dress up a rather...
Now I take that personally. I hear that a lot.
Well, as I say, it gives
true
a,
enough. It
for
does.
a little bit goes a long ways, and,
Yeah.
and it really dresses up a meal.
And Rich's Dick has one that you whip. It comes in a little, looks like a cream carton, and you actually whip it, and you just hardly can tell the difference, really.
Well, that's true.
That one isn't in an aerosol can. It comes frozen,
right.
and you thaw it, and then you whip it.
Well, I mean, this is a versatility of these products.
Yeah.
You can put it in an aerosol can, you can freeze it. Well, a comparable product, of course, is the powdered coffee whiteners.
Yep.
And they come in jars, and a little bit of powder it goes a long ways and looks good and tastes good in coffee or tea.
Well, we're very excited to hear about the growth of this whole field. This is a chat with Glendora. We're talking to Dr. Richard R. Barton. He's a PhD who's done a lot of research on this.
An increase in knowledge of nutrition, and as some of the gaps in our knowledge of nutritional science are filled, we will be able to, the food industry will be able to come up with foods that will fulfill these needs. Because after all, we're all what we eat, basically.
Sure we are.
And the more knowledge we have about nutrition, the higher the quality will be, or our food supply will be. And, going way back, there's a basis for this. The use of a little bit of iodine and salt has almost completely eliminated the problem of goiter in this country. Another example, the use of rather small quantities of vitamin C in fruit juices and powdered juices have almost completely eliminated scurvy.
Yeah.
I would almost wonder how many physicians would recognize scurvy if they saw it. It's such a rare occurrence in this country. And these are but two examples of, old examples, if you will, but nevertheless good examples of what can be done with fabricated foods to prevent disease conditions.
Well, I think this has been very interesting. I bet you do also, folks. This is Dr. Richard Barton, and the company that you did this research for was
Frost & Sullivan.
Frost & Sullivan. And you are, tell me just a little bit about yourself. You're a PhD. You went where?
I got my PhD at Ohio State.
Ohio State?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you play football for it? No.
No, I did not play.
Not much nutrition. And
after leaving Ohio State, I worked doing food development work for the Navy.
The Navy? United States Navy?
Yes, the United States Navy. Then I went into industry. And,
you worked for whom?
I worked for Miles Laboratories.
Miles Labs?
Yes, for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to work for myself.
Well, I think that's wonderful.
And so now I'm doing consulting work in the food industry.
I bet you enjoy that a lot.
It's a tremendous challenge, and I enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah, right. Well, thanks for coming to see us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Dr. Richard Barton, and this is a chat with Glendora. Everybody, let's take a break here for Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Listen, the kids went back to school this year and they felt really great about it. I think most kids nowadays, it isn't that they mind school. They don't mind school. It's just that they don't like the principle of the thing, right? And a lot of parents and educators are concerned today that the kids don't know enough geography. But I bet your kids know a lot of geography, right? Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. Listen, you think that the boys are going to wear their hair just a little bit shorter. Are you able to get your son to get a haircut? Several mothers have decided that their son's hair is way beyond the help of a barber now. A barber won't be able to help them. They'll have to send them to a dog grooming parlor. And with, the dancing lessons and the music lessons, things are getting pretty expensive. And most kids today taking dancing lessons, you know what they want? They want to learn how to tap dance in their platform shoes. Last fall at this time, if you remember, the big movie of the year was Jaws, right? Well, 1976 is the year of the Jaws 2. After all, it's an election year.
This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. And we'll be right back in just a second. We're going down to the New York Center, folks, to June Croft, and you're going to find out how to cook a low cholesterol, low calorie, and low cost meal. Hey, folks, could you please help Friends of Animals? See, thousands and thousands of cats and dogs are being killed right in the area where you live because they don't have any homes, or because they're starving, or because they're abandoned, or because they're sick. And Friends of Animals is trying to stop all this cruelty with a spaying program. So would you send money to Friends of Animals and help them? The life of unwanted pets is heartbreaking. You know, they sleep in dirty alleys and vacant lots. They become filthy and miserable. They suffer hunger and abuse. Anything you can name happens to the poor things. I'd like to end worse yet, folks. Strays continue to breed, and their rate is really astonishing. In 1 year's time, more than 40 million stray cats and dogs roam our cities and towns. And it's very sad to have them destroyed. We ought to reverse the fate which awaits these homeless animals. Would you please support Friends of Animals Incorporated, 11 West 60th Street, New York, New York, 10023. 11 West 60th Street, New York, New York, 10023. Friends of Animals. We want to stop this vicious cycle, you know, of all these kitty cats and dogs being born who don't have homes, and then they have babies who don't have homes. Friends of Animals, 11 West 60th Street, New York, New York, 10023. 10023. Hey, the chat with Glendora continues now with cooking show number 3, right, June? That's us. And what delicious number 3 do you have planned for us now?
A picnic. It's summer, you know.
Oh, yeah, very good.
So, I think we should have, I'll read the menu first.
My boss thinks I'm on a picnic all the time. Yes, read the menu first, Joe.
This is the kind of a thing that you can have in the park,
Yes?
on the terrace,
Yeah.
or on the lawn,
Yeah.
or just anywhere under a tree.
Or on the roof, if you live in Manhattan.
Precisely.
Yeah, very good.
We're going to, first of all, have baked beans,
Oh, boy.
and with it, Worthington Vegelinks.
Worthington Vegelinks.
65 calories each.
Really?
That's all.
That's half the calories of a regular hot dog.
And probably less than that.
Oh, neat.
And hot corn on the cob.
Anybody who watches a chat with Glendora likes corn. Okay. Now, Worthington Vegelinks, I'd like to point out, folks, are available at health food stores and at the Finest store, Finest supermarket at 9th and 57th, isn't it?
Righto.
In Manhattan, 9th and
Right.
57th. Okay, June?
Shall we put the beans together?
All right, let's do that, yes.
Here we have 3 cups of cooked beans. Now I hear somebody say, I can't eat beans because beans do, you know,
Yes, they do.
flatulence.
Right,
Well, I've got an idea, and I'm going to share it. I have a cousin.
Flatulent is a polite word for it, yes.
Yes, if you know what I mean.
Yes, we all know what you mean, right.
I've got a cousin who travels all over South America, Mexico, and
Yeah.
down into Central America.
Yes?
And she shared a secret. Meat tenderizer is a digestive.
It is?
And so,
sure
if you
it
put it in the beans,
Yeah.
you have less trouble.
All right. How much do you put in now?
About a
dear?
half a teaspoon in the 3 cups.
Okay.
Now, this is the kind that doesn't have a pepper in it. Easier on the lining, you know.
Oh, I see. Let's show the folks what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adolf,
You want a half
plain.
a cup?
Yeah. It'll be so tender we'll never get there.
A half a teaspoonful.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And then some tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Canned tomatoes?
Canned tomatoes,
Okay.
a cup and a half cup of onions.
You're a
chopped.
pretty good-looking tomato, June.
You're awful kind today.
And half a cup of chopped onions?
Yes, and this same butter salt, you know, that we like so well.
boy,
Half a
yeah.
teaspoon of that goes in.
Okay.
And instead of the mustard, I'm going to put turmeric. Turmeric, all right. Turmeric. Do you hear turmeric?
All right, I just want to show the folks this butter salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turmeric,
No, I never
like
heard of
mustard,
turmeric.
has a lovely flavor, and it's easier on your intestinal linings.
It is really?
This is a health dish.
And June knows all this, folks, because in addition to being a nutritionist and all that, she's an RN, right?
Yes.
And a Bachelor of Science.
That's tacked on. These are the beans, just the little plain white beans. Inexpensive. You can serve 8 or 10 people for under $1. How's that for cutting the cost of living?
That's very good, and I'm going to use it on my relatives.
Now, here's some grandma's molasses.
Good, yeah.
For flavoring, about 1/4 cup goes in.
Quarter of a cup.
Yeah.
Grandma's molasses.
Lots of iron in this.
There is?
Oh, yes. For that hemoglobin, etc.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Now, we'll stir it all up together.
Well, June Croft, beans are pretty high in protein, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And what's more, in fact, there's protein in every living thing.
There is?
And if you mix the proteins, the amino acids of beans and the amino acids of cereals, such
Yes.
as corn,
Yes.
the body will synthesize a perfect protein.
Really?
Yes. So we got corn and beans,
Now,
like south of the border almost.
I noticed you had one more ingredient there.
Did you? Oh, let me tell you about that.
All right.
First of all, we put it in the oven and bake it for an hour.
An hour.
And after it's baked for an hour, we remove the lid and add a ½ teaspoon of basil.
Oh, basil?
Yes.
Okay.
Gives it a nice flavor, and then you leave the lid off and let it simmer down to the right consistency, and it's ready to serve.
June Croft, you're the best cook I know.
Oh, you're awful kind.
Other than the fact that you never lick your fingers.
Not in public.
But just one question about the beans, June.
Yes.
Do you have to soak those the night before or something?
Not really. There's a wonderful way of cooking beans that is also likely to cut down on the flatulence.
Is really?
Right. For instance, if you take your beans and wash them.
Yes.
Put water over them.
Yeah.
Bring them to a boil.
Yeah.
Let them sit for an hour or so.
Yeah.
And then stir them along gentle like.
Yes, right.
They are very tender.
Are they really?
And just right.
And now we're all ready to put this in the oven, aren't we?
That we are. You want to put it in? I'll
Oh,
hold it.
sure, I'd be glad to.
Well, you know what?
Hold my mic?
I didn't put the lemon juice in.
Oh, gotta have the lemon juice. Okay.
Here goes the lemon juice. That helps it.
Shall I stir it again?
Give it another little stir.
Okay.
I'm very good at stirring things up. Oh, my God.
Here we are.
Here goes the lid. I'll hold the door. You put it in.
We should have a little music to go with this, right? Just put them right in the oven.
That's right.
Okay, here we go. And the oven's at what now?
350.
350. And shut the door, and those will be ready in an hour. Well, now, everybody, you don't have to wait a whole hour to see how it comes out. No, we'll be resuming here in a couple of minutes so you can see the wonderful, wonderful results of that terrific menu. Low calorie, low cost, and low cholesterol with June Croft. Hey, folks, if you'd like to know what's going on cable TV, what's going on in the programs and the listing of the programs and who's on and what programs and what they're going to feature, you can find it all in Cable TV World. This little magazine comes out every 2 weeks. And it lists all the programs on Channel C and Channel D and Channel J and Channel H and Channel M. It's a really good guide to cable television programs here in Manhattan. How you doing anyway? We have a poem here from our very favorite poet, but first we'll stop for Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. No, you think there is such a thing as possible? A cheerful look at the news? It's funny, how people are calling New York City Aid City, but don't get discouraged, folks. In 3 years or so, we'll be Paid City, won't we? And then, every year they have this and that week, National Education Week. That's 1 week out of the year in which we all get educated. And right about now is National Clown Week. That's my week. It was really sad, I think, about a year ago. Right in the middle of National Clown Week, Good Humor was indicted. That's terrible. Cher started out one of her programs, on CBS on Sunday night. She started out one of her programs saying, I'm Cher, I'm 28, I weigh 104 pounds sometimes,
and other times I weigh 108 pounds. Don't you think the 4-pound difference is in her makeup? She's married to Greg Allman. He's all man, and Cher is certainly all woman. One good thing is lately is that the Blue Cross hasn't increased their rates. Every time the Blue Cross increases their rates, people get bluer and crosser, right? And a lot of people talked about Jerry Ford, that he didn't say much about unemployment or didn't do much about unemployment. But I think unemployment was very much on his mind, because if he didn't do anything about it, he would be, right, January 21st. We have a poem, as I say, from this book, Something of Love, which is written by Franklin Buell. This is a lovely poem. Listen to this. It's called Visitor. Making a midsummer call, he is no bother at all. He doesn't talk, never eats, never takes the softest seats. Though he may come late at night, there's no need to leave a light. He doesn't muss up a bed, requires no planning ahead. Careful not to stay too long, he seems to do nothing wrong. But all that does not reveal the key to this guest's appeal. It's his smile through a window frame. This makes you glad the full moon came. Franklin Buell, a chat with Glendora will continue now.
Power pack, and it's very, very heavy. Unlike the power packs today, I mean, you could hold those in the palm of your hand. And then that's, the power pack is wired into the AV3400, the machine that you just saw, this machine. And out of this machine comes a 10-pin connector. And this 10-pin connector goes over here to this monitor. And this 10-pin connector carries both the video and the audio from this DC unit. And then out of the monitor comes your audio and your video. And this goes over into the RF unit of the Canon. See, this is video in and audio out. And then the video comes out of the RF connector. And the audio comes out of the RF connector, and they all go into the back of the monitor. The RF connector is hooked up to the camera that I'm holding, the camcorder that I'm holding. And now we're going to transfer Sony Videotape 16, Sony Videotape 16, from half-inch reel-to-reel Sony to 8mm Canon, and this was on May the 5th, 1990.
Here about a set sold door to door. A set sold door to door may be quality wear and have special pieces, sizes, and construction, but does it fit your budget and your needs? Take a few days to think it over, and in the meantime compare the price and features of the set offered you with similar sets in stores. Be sure, too, that you receive a written guarantee with the set and that you know the exact total cost, including finance charges and credit insurance. If you do sign a contract to purchase a set from a door-to-door salesman and the set is worth $25 or more, a rule of the Federal Trade Commission allows you 3 business days to change your mind. My goodness, in 3 days, how many times can you change your mind? The same rule also requires that the salesman tell you when you sign the contract that you have the right to cancel it. Somebody ought to tell us that when we sign the marriage contract, too. 2, give you a complete receipt or copy of the contract and 2 copies of a notice of cancellation with instructions for its use. Salespeople are going to like this, the door-to-door salespeople. We shouldn't be telling on them. 3, write his name, that's the salesman, and business address, or her name, the date of sale, and the date by which you must cancel the order on both copies of the notice. So I guess we didn't know all that, but that's you're entitled to from the Federal Trade Commission.
Now listen, pointers on shopping. Balance and steadiness. Look for pots and pans that resist tipping, whether full or empty. That applies to people too. A utensil bottom should sit absolutely level. A handle should be light enough not to overbalance an empty pot and short enough not to catch on the clothing of persons passing the range. Before you buy a pot or pan, especially a skillet, test it for stability. And that applies to the boyfriend that your daughter's going out with right now. Ease of lifting and pouring pots. Large skillets and pressure saucepans, even those that are light in themselves, are heavy when nearly full of food. Well, we all are, aren't we, folks? Pointers on use and cleaning. There again, I think the best pointer is to ask your husband to do it. So everybody, this little book on pots and pans is a consumer publication, General Services Administration. You can get it by writing to Washington, D.C., 20405. And this is a chat with Glendora. I think President Ford is here tonight looking for delegates. chat with Glendora at the YWCA, City YWCA, at 53rd and Lexington in Manhattan. And these people are putting on a wonderful folk dance program. And this is a chat with Glendora on Manhattan Cable Television. One of the shows where the people wear clothes on the show. And on teleprompter Manhattan Cable Television. Finding Sony videotape 16. And Sony over in New Jersey lost our Sony videotape 17. So you'll never see that. So next we're going to transfer Sony videotape 18. Sony videotape reel-to-reel 18. The 8mm cassette. Of the 1990s, and this is how big it is. Very, very nice. Now that's a 2-hour tape. 120 minutes. And that's the little box it comes in. It doesn't look any bigger than an audio tape, does it? This is Timothy Cat. You know, folks, in 1973, along about there, Akai, A-K-A-I, came out with a portable videotape recorder, and the tape was only 1/4 of an inch. So you see, that would predate the 8mm by about 15 years. And it was a great little machine. The pictures were awfully good, and it was so portable, and it was so light. The only thing was it didn't have an electronic viewfinder. It had a photographic viewfinder. So you look through the viewfinder and you'd see the picture all right, but you didn't know what you were really getting on tape. Well, it was really a nice machine. It was very advanced for its time. Over in New Rochelle, and I'd like to have you meet Ruth Krebs. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Glendora.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Ruth, you're doing interesting things with pussycats, and do you also help dogs? Or?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Would you just tell the folks a little bit about the name of your organization is?
The name of the organization is Pet Assistance, Inc., and we have a shelter in New Rochelle, which is primarily for cats. We have dogs for adoption also, but most of those we keep in foster homes.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. Sometimes we have them at the shelter if they're quiet, you know, and if they get a little
yes,
cat.
Right. And how long ago did you start your Pet Associates, Inc.?
Well, Pet Assistance was started in 1973, and it was formed by a group of people who were interested in placing animals, and we did it from our homes. And then the activity got a little bit too great, and 4 years ago we found a little building, and as an experiment we signed a 1-year lease with an option to renew to see how it would work doing it from a building. And we've been extremely successful. We place about 500-600 animals a year. from
Oh,
our
that's
little building.
wonderful. That's really wonderful. 500 or 600 a year.
Yes,
I really admire you for that. Yeah. Do you enjoy it a lot?
yes, I really do. It's very, very satisfying.
And who are some of the other people in Pet Assistance Inc.?
Well, there are 5 people on our board of directors. We're
Yeah.
all volunteer directors, 5 women, and most of us have outside jobs, also other things, and we devote a
You
lot
mean
of
you work
time to
outdoors?
them. Well, outside of the animal field, we do some other work also, but devote a lot of time to this, and it certainly pays.
And their names are what?
Well,
reps.
there's Catherine Clark and
Catherine Clark,
and Josette Miller.
Josette Miller.
We were the 3 that incorporated it, and also Bonnie Berg and Marilyn Fasillo.
And are they all from New Rochelle?
No, they're from all over the county.
Westchester,
Yeah, all over. Actually, our services, although we're located in New Rochelle, we do serve the entire community, no matter where, including New York City, Long Island, wherever people hear of us, and if we can be of assistance, we are.
And we could look at some of the kitties now, couldn't we, up for adoption?
Oh, yes, I do have several of them here.
Ruth Krebs, could you tell us about this nice kitty up for adoption?
Yes, this is a wonderful, beautiful silver Maine Coon cat.
Oh, wow.
And he has a very long, beautiful coat, which has been shaved because he was matted. But you can see that he's got a full coat, and he's altered into Claude, and he's 2 years old, and he's very, very special and gorgeous. Maine Coons are large, long-haired cats, and his coloring is really rare to see a beautiful silver like that.
Ruth, who's this pretty kitty?
Oh, well, this is one of our very, very special kitties. Her name is Rainbow, and she's about a 4.5-month-old calico kitten. And Rainbow is one of our very special cases. We do take in problem or handicapped animals sometimes. Rainbow has limited vision. She had an accident or something when she was young. Somebody had found her, and her eyes are damaged. She does see, she plays, she runs around, but we do need a special indoor home for her. And when Rainbow's adopted, we're willing to spay her free, and any vet care that she might need, we'd be willing to provide free of charge.
Oh, Ruth, that's wonderful. Would you go over that again, please? Now, you spay them?
Yes, all of our cats must be spayed or altered, and we usually ask the people to pay for the spaying, which we have done at a very low cost, about less than half of what you would pay privately. In Rainbow's case, we would be willing to pick up all of her veterinary expenses. We've had her since she was 8 weeks old. We've taken care of her. We love her very much, but she does need a special home because of her limited vision. She loves dogs and loves to play with other cats and gets around fine. She's a wonderful kitten.
And Ruth, would you tell us a number to call now if we want to adopt a kitty cat?
Well, if you want to adopt, you can call Pet Assistance at 235-3172. And we're open 7 days a week, and Tuesday and Thursday nights until 7:30. We also see people by appointment.
Say it again, Virginia dear.
235-3172. That's area code 914.
235.
3172.
And we'll say it again later, folks, so that you can get a pencil and paper. Ruth, what is your address?
We're located at 290 5th Avenue, New Rochelle, which is off of North Avenue in the vicinity of City Hall or Iona College. Most people know those landmarks.
290 5th Avenue,
Yes.
New Rochelle. Who's this playful little cutie?
This is a wonderful little kitty that, believe it or not, somebody found in the street last week, and they brought it to us. A lot of our cats come to us in their strays. They're, little kitties that people have found, and they're very concerned about their welfare. And they know that we don't put to sleep once we take in, so we're, very much in demand. People are calling us all the time to take the animals they either find or can't keep. And this, I can't imagine how anybody lost a kitty like this and didn't look for it. It never stops purring, playing. It's a beautiful, adorable little long-haired kitten. And it's going to be a beautiful cat. It's about 2.5 months old. It's a little boy.
And the number you call again is what?
235-3172. I guess you can't hear his purring, but he hasn't stopped for a second. Say hello. He's got real big feet. He's really cute. Really, really cute.
Does he have 7 toes, you mean?
No, he doesn't, but he's just a heavy-boned kitten with sort of
Oh, I
broad
see.
paws, and he plays gently. He's nice.
He's going to grow up and do MGM pictures. He's going to be the roaring lion.
That would be nice. And to say that he came from Pet Assistance would be really good.
And your address again, please.
It's 290 Fifth Avenue, New Rochelle, which is a main street connecting North Avenue, New Rochelle with Larchmont.
Ruth, you were going to give him some butter, were you?
Well, I was. Just getting to be a little too much now.
And Ruth, this is one of your other members. Who was that? Who was holding the pretty little kitty?
Oh, that was Bonnie Berg. That
Bonnie
is Bonnie Berg. Kitten's getting the best of her right now.
Kitty. What a face. It's a good thing this is black and white television. We have so many black and white cats. And who is this Ruth Krebs?
Oh, this is Tweedledee. We have Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And they're sisters, and they're both what you call bicolor cats. They have 2 colors, it makes them fancier. And these are special because they're polydactyl. They have extra toes, and some people think that that's good luck.
You said her name is Polydactyl?
No! You call these extra toes polydactyl.
Hey, that's pretty fancy.
And what's special about this one, she's got like 28. She's got
28 toes?
front and back. Most cats have, I think, 5 claws in the front and 4 in the back. And she's got, gosh, I don't know, 7 all around, something like that. And she's quite a personality, spayed, and a lovely pet. There are 2 of them, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They're sisters, and they're up for adoption.
And the cost on the adoption is how much? The fee is how much?
Well, our adult cats, we usually ask, we suggest a donation of $25. All the adults are vaccinated, leukemia tested, and they are spayed or altered. We do see that all of our cats, as soon as they're old enough, get neutered. And for people that adopt kittens, our fees are a little bit higher, but it does include the neutering. Our male kittens are $35 and our females $45, and that includes the spaying or altering. And the adults, as I say, we do suggest a donation of $25 or whatever the person can afford. Hey, look up, look up.
Look up.
I also want to add that we offer our adult cats to senior citizens free of charge. A lot of people feel when they get older and they're on fixed incomes, they feel they can't afford pets. And if it's a senior citizen, if it's an indoor home, we will give them a cat and we will pay any veterinary costs that might arise, you know, for the lifetime of the cat, as long as they have it.
Really?
Because our main concern is really for the cats to have good homes and also to help people. And we feel that elderly people, especially those on a fixed income, they really need the companionship, want it, and they fear what the expense might be. And, you know, we're willing to do that.
This little kitty is a young fella, isn't he?
Yes, Mo is probably about 2.5 months old. She's very nervous. She's a little bit shy, but very gentle and very sweet. Mo was a stray. We got her whole litter from Queens. Some woman had found them in a lot and had brought them to us. The cats at our shelter, we have about 45, come to us from all over. We try to help as many cats as we can, and it doesn't really matter where they come from. One reason we really like to promote our adoptions is the more animals we place, the more we have room to take in. And unfortunately, we have to turn away a lot of people. But we try to have a nice assortment on hand and place them in good homes. As I say, Mo comes from Queens, we get them from Brooklyn, we get them from Connecticut, New Jersey. We have one that came to us from California and 2 from Boston.
Now, Ruth, did you want to tell us about your policy of tags? I think that's great the way you put ID tags on them.
Right. Oh, as you've noticed, all of our cats were wearing these red metal tags, and it says, if I am lost or injured, please call Pet Assistance, and it has our number, and it has a number which we register.
Oh, that's super,
Yes.
because that could save the life of a cat.
It really does, and in fact, we put in the newspaper a couple of times a year that we offer these tags free to the general public, and when it was in the paper in September, I think we had about 400 requests.
Did you really?
Tags, yes. These tags are available to anybody to register their pet. We feel everyone should have their own phone number on their dog or cat's collar, but if you go to work or on vacation, it's really important to have your pet registered with us because we're there 7 days a week. We have a machine if someone's not there, and we ask for you to fill out a card with your vet's number and a work number and all that. And if we get a call, we'll notify you. And if we can't get you, we'll arrange for the animal to be picked up and held, and so you can be contacted. So it's really very good protection for your pet.
And you were going to say something else?
I was just going to say, if you'd like a free ID tag, just send a stamped, self-addressed envelope and a request for the tag to Pet Assistance at 290 Fifth Avenue, New Rochelle, and we'll send you a tag.
Pet Assistance.
290 Fifth Avenue, New Rochelle. So please do send a stamped, self-addressed envelope with your request.
A stamped self-addressed envelope means you jump
For
on
us
it?
to return. No. Well, because we do this free, you know, postage rates are high.
Oh, yeah, right.
And when we had 400 requests, that would have been a lot of money if we had to pay the postage.
Right. Well, I admire what you're doing here. And your telephone number again, please?
Is 235-3172.
Now, Ruth, just time here to wind up a little bit. If a person wants to adopt any of these animals we saw, or any other animals that you have at the shelter, they just go there and they call and make an appointment, or your hours are what? I think that's important. What are your hours?
Well, we are open 7 days a week. We're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 10:30 to 4:30.
10:30 to 4:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're open from 10:30 a.m. to 7:30 at night, so people can come after work.
10:30 a.m. to 7 at night on
7:30.
7:30.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And then people can make an appointment?
Yes.
Great.
We're also open Sundays from 12 to 4. And if someone comes from out of town or has a special situation, we'll meet them by appointment.
Anybody from the moon or anybody?
Right.
And,
And if they're nice to animals, we don't care where they're from.
and the number they call again is?
914-235-3172.
And Ruth, I think we'd better say the address of the shelter, too.
Our adoption center is located at 290 Fifth Avenue, New Rochelle, which is off of North Avenue in the vicinity of City Hall. Well, that's Lilla, and she's a little lilac point Siamese
Oh, wow.
who had been a stray originally and came to our adoption center. We have many purebred cats that pass through our doors. Right now we have a beautiful 2.5-year-old chocolate point, altered and declawed Siamese, very, very sweet. Very often we have Persian, Siamese, Burmese mix, and most recently our rarest and most expensive type of cat, 2 purebred Rex cats. If you're familiar with them, they're rather unusual looking. They're supposed to be non-allergenic and they hardly have any hair. So in the course of a year, we come across just about every breed.
All the cats?
Well, they've got very flat, wavy coats, and they're very Siamese looking in their conformation. And they're very different looking. I think they're beautiful. I like them.
She's a sweetheart, isn't she?
She certainly is. She loves everybody. She's converted many people who weren't so sure that they liked cats to liking cats.
I can see where she would. Oh. Oh, aren't you nice?
Well, I guess we aren't too interesting. She won't open her eyes. I
She's
hope
very content.
She probably looks like the audience. Well, that's good. I'm glad we had a peaceful effect upon everybody.
She's purring.
Maybe she'll wake up if you stop petting her.
Everybody, this is Nancy Crosby, and Nancy, it was your idea to videotape the pet assistant thing, right?
Yes, I wanted so much. Well, it was your idea too.
It was my
Partly.
idea.
It was, I think it was your idea, Glendora. And we, of course, we both love animals, and we wanted to see if we could get as many adopted as we could from the different shelters around here.
Don't you think they deserve a lot of credit?
Oh, I think they're marvelous. I just love what they're doing.
Right? And you would like to show these animals regularly so people can come and adopt them and have all the fun of having a cat.
That's right. They miss a lot if they don't have a cat or a dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Oh, they're so companionable
Uh-huh.
and so much fun, and you just have to have one to find out what it's like.
Uh-huh. Do they eat a lot?
They don't really eat very much.
They eat more than you do. And so if anybody wants one of these animals, they can just get in touch with those people
That's right.
at Pet Assistance. And
Yes.
we gave the address. It was 295th Avenue in New Rochelle.
Right.
And the telephone was what? Let's ask again what the telephone number was. Let's ask Ruth Krebs. Yeah.
All right.
Krebs?
The number is 235-3172.
Well, we want to thank you all for staying with us this time, and we thank you, Nancy, for getting things together and for giving folks this opportunity. And we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
biggest change is his need to be aware. He wants to be aware. He wants to know if he's being taken. I think finally he's decided that once and for all he wants to know everything about anything, and that, it's important to him how his money is spent nowadays, particularly after a bad recession.
Right, he doesn't seem to spend it as readily as he used to, right?
No, not anymore, believe me, I know.
Yeah, that's true of men and women, don't you think?
Very true. Particularly, I think through Women's Lib, women are becoming a lot more aware of things. I think people are starting to realize women are a big facet in this country, which they haven't been which they've been for many years, but never given the credit for.
Hey, that's interesting. Your name's what?
Steve Hall.
Hi, Steve. And you live in Manhattan, do you? Or?
No, I live up in Westchester.
In Westchester,
Croton on the Hudson.
Well, I think your opinions were very sensible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
Do you think people are spending as much money as they used to?
I spend a lot of money.
Yeah? Do you think they're spending more or less?
More.
More, huh? Yeah. Do you think that people want more for their money than they used to?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for talking to us. Your name is what?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Jimmy, you live in Manhattan, around here?
I live in the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Thanks,
Jimmy. I just
Jimmy.
worked up there.
All righty. Bye-bye, Jimmy.
Bye.
Hi there.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Okay.
Do you think people are spending as much money as they used to?
I can only answer that for myself. Last year I was spending more because I had more. And I know this year I'm spending less because I've got less. I don't know what more I could say.
Yeah, that's right. You think things will get better, though?
Well, I sure hope they will get better. I think it's turning around now. It looks to be getting better. I was out of work for 9 months. I just got called back in June.
Oh, gee, that's rough.
Yeah, I got knocked off. I got knocked off my job in July. No, in August. And I wasn't called back to go to work until June.
Oh,
I
that's
started.
miserable, yeah. That's terrible. Well, we thank you a lot. Your name is what?
Marvin Hennenfeld.
And you live around Manhattan, Marvin?
No, I live in Jackson Heights, which is not too far away.
Not too far. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Hi there, how are you doing?
All right.
You around doing your errands, are you?
Yeah, off and on.
Do you think that people are spending as much money as they used to?
Not really, because now, you know, people are starting to save. Smart people. Then again,
and then rich people will have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, you live in Manhattan, do you?
The Bronx.
You live in the Bronx. And your name's what?
Tony Jenkins.
Tony, what was the last name?
Jenkins.
Tony, do you think that people will spend more money later on, or do you think it'll get worse, or what?
Well, yeah, I think they will.
You do? So you're optimistic about it, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Listen, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
This is a chat with Glendora, everybody, and we're out on the street at 53rd and Lexington Avenue having a very good time. I hope you are, too. And from Manhattan, folks are over in Paterson, New Jersey, just like that, through the electron wizardry here of the 20th century. That's Tom O'Leary of the A&P Corporation.
There we go.
Well, that was pretty good. Thanks for showing the walks. They really look good. Hope you stop?
Sure. Do a little song for us, man. Come on. Jingle bells, something, happy birthday.
Nettie should be here. She could sing the song.
And you gotta chew this now, not just throw it out on the flavor stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Nettie. Very much.
For two, and one for Diamond. Only took that long.
Wow.
Well, Howie, did you hear about how the telephone company chickened out?
Oh, they sure did.
Huh?
Thanks.
They sure did.
George, his hands.
Glendora, can I
Well, whatever you'd like to do.
I think that what I would like to preface, if you want to make a short presentation, certainly you're welcome to do so. But what I would like to see done is that have council make a determination as to whether or not cable has been living up to the contract as it affects your concerns. And I would like to, really, I don't think that we want to go through this whole thing. Unless the fellows want to read it, that's okay with me. I'm committing with just about everything that's in here.
Okay,
It's up to you.
Well, I would like to know if I can make a motion that you change your meeting night from Wednesday to Thursday, so you can all stay home and watch the chat in Glendora at 8:30 p.m. Wednesday. Consider that.
I don't think so.
We meet every other Wednesday, so
We'll catch you every other week.
Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
We'll catch you every other week.
Well, folks, I would like to point out to you that on page 25, you see what started it all, and you see the wrongs as they are listed. And on page 26, you see what I would like to correct it. And then, go to page 37, when I'd like to thank Mayor Andorano for spending 3 hours of valuable time trying to resolve this. That's on page 37. We had a 2-hour meeting in his office. And this is what Mr. Zimmer agreed to. And I was to send a letter listing this, and I was to get it back from Mr. Zimmer signed, and my editing would be resuming on St. Patrick's Day. Well, this never happened. This never happened on page 37. Instead, on pages 64, 65, oh, excuse me, on pages, yes, thank you, on pages 50 and 51, on pages 50 and 51 is what I got from Mr. Zimmer. And on pages 64 and 65, my answer to Mr. Zimmer's letter.
Did I get that letter?
No, you haven't, nobody's done it. It's all got expressed.
Glendora, as I understand this, and you and I spoke, if Mr. Zimmer would agree to what he agreed to in the meeting with you and the supervisor, you would be here this evening, right?
Yes.
Well, then why doesn't he agree to edit your stuff?
Good question.
Legally, do we have a leg to stand on, Arthur?
I have to rescind. He's not that familiar with the contract on
But,
that.
Pat, you met with Mr. Zimmer in Glendora.
Right.
And he agreed to do certain things, and now he's reneging.
Well, maybe there's a reason why he had to take a different, Mr. Zimmer, would you please try to tell us why this position is different than it was at a meeting that we had?
Well, it's not different. The letter that Glendora refers to that I sent to her is there's an explanation in there as to what's causing some of the technical problems that she's complained about. I give her 3 choices. The first one of which is that we will abide by the agreement that we made, but the other part that was missing from the letter that she sent me was her responsibilities as an access user to follow the rules and to behave in a cooperative and agreeable manner.
What are the rules that you're talking about that she's not following?
At the beginning, when Adam Russell had the franchise, part of part of the process as required by the State Cable Commission is you have to establish access rules. There's a set of rules which were drawn up in conjunction with the Harrison Cable Committee at that time, and they've been in effect since that time.
But you're saying that she is violating your rules?
Yes. So we've made exceptions to those rules willingly, and in fact, our staff people have worked voluntarily very hard with her to help her. But when, in doing so, it's created other problems which are technical in nature, which relate to the kind of equipment she wants to use and the kind of equipment that we have available. And it's kind of
What you're saying is that the two of you are not on the same page.
Same page.
Well, she has certain equipment that she wants to use, and you have certain equipment that she can't use, so apparently you two aren't on the same page.
Well, the second choice is to use our equipment as any access user would and learn how to operate and use it. Or the third choice is to do what she does right now, which is supply us with a finished show, which we air. We've never denied her access time.
What she does, is it really complicated to edit what she does?
Well, she's trying to skip a step rather than take her 8mm tape and edit or dub that onto 3/4 inch tape and then edit it, or 1/2 inch tape and then edit it. She's trying to edit directly onto the 3/4, which requires modification of our access equipment and time to do that, and it causes some glitches in the tape.
Why don't you get the same equipment that he has? And then you solve your problem.
I object to all of that. It's not true. My having my own equipment saves Cablevision Systems Incorporated, which I will refer to from now on as CDSI, saves them studio time, and it saves them personnel time, and it saves them equipment usage. I have my own equipment. I go out and I edit my program on location. I shoot it and I edit it. I have state-of-the-art equipment. And what I do is a benefit to CDSI.
He's disagreeing to that, though.
Well, he disagrees to that, but the whole thing is what started it, and this, what he is
Wait,
saying...
excuse me, Glendora, let me interrupt you. I didn't hear him disagree to doing that.
No, he makes me choose between one of three things.
But the first one is exactly what you want. I'm just asking you to be cooperative and simple.
Well,
I understand this. She does her own shooting out on the field by herself. You want your people to do the shooting?
No, not at all. Access, the purpose of access, the very heart of access is for citizens like Glendora to have a forum, so to speak. As part of the franchise agreement, we agreed to purchase equipment, which we did. We supply people to train access users to use it, which we do. And then we have several access users that check out that equipment, they use it. The purpose is for them to be able to produce and edit and air their own shows. Glendora has her own equipment, which is fine, but the problem arises when it comes to editing.
That's the problem.
It's a narrow issue, but it's gone to the State Cable Commission, and their opinion was either follow the rules or don't use the facility.
What would it take you to change some of your equipment to comply to his?
No, I think the thing that I mentioned, you will be. You will. I will give you the opportunity.
That's not what the problem is. This is a cover-up of the problem they created.
You will have your opportunity. All I'm interested in knowing is that Glendora can continue to operate with the equipment she owns and work with the equipment at your place. You have a problem.
Well, Glendora's on suspension from using the...
Aside from that, aside.
Well, that suspension was caused by her behavior and verbal abuse of employees when it didn't work out the way she wants it.
Okay.
She will agree.
But I'm more interested in answering the answer to my question. Can she continue to use her equipment and then come into the studio and have your equipment then adapt her end result so that it can be shown on our cable?
In other words, what you've been doing right along, you're not denying her that.
Right, that's choice number one.
Okay.
Okay, I want you all to look at page 25, what started it. What started it was not keeping their appointments, being late for their appointments, and not having the equipment in operating order when I got there, and going back on their word and harassing me. That's what started it. And I don't think any of you would take that from anyone.
When you say harassing you, what do you mean?
For 28 minutes, Matt stood there harassing me when I was trying to edit. Saying, Glendora, if you realize this, you realize that, and so forth. He harassed me for 28 minutes. From 5:32 to 6 o'clock. And ruined my whole editing. I had to go somewhere else and do the whole thing over. That was number 5. And that's on page 25.
Mr. Zima, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Obviously, there's a litany here of complaints and counter-complaints, and this obviously is a personal issue, more than it is an equipment issue, if I understand. I don't think we have an equipment problem. I think we have a human problem. I think we have a people problem, from what I read here. I was of the opinion this personal issue was resolved with the supervisor at a meeting, because we thought it was put to sleep. Obviously, something had transpired since that meeting, which makes it surface again. We have a Citizen Cable TV Committee. At least we had one. I think it's still in existence. You seem to have made a response related to a difference between Glendora and a member of your staff, and you unilaterally, or at least it's accusing you of unilaterally sentencing punishment. She's been ostracized or been put on probation, whatever your phrase. Should this matter not be settled, since this is public access, by our committee if there is a dispute or a difference? Isn't that a more appropriate forum for deciding these issues rather than you as the manager to decide it? I'm asking a question, I don't know the answer.
Well, we have a responsibility to govern the facilities and the use of them, and to exercise control of them and enforce the rules as they're set out. A disruptive situation occurred which led to this suspension.
We don't know the cause. You're perfect, but we don't know the cause. Nobody is due process here, and I'm wondering if we have to. We don't know who the right or wrong party was. You just presumed, and maybe you were right, maybe you're wrong, that the wrong party was Glendora. Is there another forum that this issue could have been referred to be responded to more responsibly? I mean, this is public access we're talking about.
Right, you're right in one part in that it's a human problem more than an equipment problem. With a spirit of cooperation, this should not be before the town board.
That's right.
Terrible effort.
That's why I want to get on the town board, because we're not here to discuss the personal rights or wrongs of something which took place months ago, and I don't think we'll ever resolve it. There'll be at least 3 sides of the story.
It was only after investigating with witnesses which are not connected with the company that I believe that the complaint was valid. In answer to your question, is there an appropriate forum or governing body? Not that I know. The Cable Commission certainly gets involved, and Glendora has filed a complaint with the Cable Commission, which is the state body which regulates cable television.
No, I mean our community. I'm asking a question. I'm trying to get us out of this posture. Neither should you be in it, because quite frankly, you are management. You're the company. I mean, with all due respect, you are the company. Can our cable committee, is it the role of our cable committee, Mr. Schreier and Mr. Castiglia, to serve in these kinds of differences, or can they be asked to serve in this capacity? This should have been resolved by some other agency other than the town board or by Mr. Zimmer. And that's why we have a cable committee.
I don't think the cable committee should resolve it. I think they should resolve it among themselves. And for what I see, it's very simple. He doesn't want her on cable. And it's simple as that. That's the impression I get, that you don't want her on cable. Even though it's a public access cable, you do not want her on cable. So therefore, you can create all the atmosphere you want.
She was on tonight. She's been on it for years.
That's my opinion.
Never been a problem with that one show.
But I think there is a problem. Here is CBSI cable casting my show every week and not contributing anything to the production of that show. That is wrong. And if you go to page 45, you will see how I go over the contract with the town, of the cable company and the town. And I tell you how. rights as a resident of Harrison are being denied. So that's very carefully written out. It starts on page 44, cable television franchise agreement, and goes to page 45, it continues, and it ends on page 46. So I'd like to let you know that.
Mr. Zimmer, the complaints are that when she goes there, she's kept waiting, and that apparently there's some rudeness involved, and that the equipment you use is not ready, and it's not working. Is this all true?
I can't, I think nerves are frayed on both sides after a long period. So is there some animosity there? I'd be foolish to think that there's not animosity on both sides, but I'm not there to see it. As to the equipment being ready, again, it has to be modified in order to be set up for the use that Glendora wants to make.
That's a 3-minute job.
Yeah, but if you know she's coming in at a certain hour, can't you modify your equipment so that you can help her?
We've done that, but from my point of view...
Seems like you guys are being uncooperative.
No, we've been very cooperative.
I don't think so.
We've been cooperative for years. The problem is if it's not there, if they're busy and they don't have it ready when she arrives, then she becomes very angry. And instead of appreciating an accommodation that's being made for her equipment, then she becomes abusive. She gets very insulting to the employees.
Well, that's her nature, so...
Mr. Zimmer, in the spirit of cooperation, would you be agreeable? I don't know the legalities, but do we still have a cable committee? Tina?
Are you addressing that to me? I'm wondering the exact same question. If you recall, several months ago, Mr. Valencia, yes, I asked the town board to examine the makeup of that committee and to reappoint it. And you all nodded and said that was a neat idea, and that was at least 4 months ago. You know, there's a committee.
Let me ask a question, Mr. Zimmer. If we have a committee we reappoint, would you be agreeable and agree this evening that this kind of issue, or this particular issue, and also you, Glendora, would you agree that we could bring this issue to the committee and let them research the facts and resolve it? Would you be agreeable to the decision of the committee? Because I don't think we're going to resolve it, nor should we.
I don't think that's the solution.
Okay, I'm trying to find a way out of this.
Let me say, this is not the only time we've received complaints.
I want to pass the buck.
Yeah, we receive complaints about, Adams Russell and Cablevision. We would like to see you people be more cooperative in dealing with our people. I mean, this has been a problem that we have encountered continually. The rudeness, the abruptness, and what have you.
See, I think we're a different issue here. I think we're trying to resolve this particular issue.
I know, but it just goes towards how Cambridge had been acting in town of Harrison. And maybe they should mend their ways a little bit. They should start with Glendora, I think. I mean, you've been very valuable service to the public. I think you should look at it as being that. You should overcome your personal animosity you may have against her.
Can I interject something as an independent
Identify yourself. Would you identify yourself, please?
Yeah. My name is William Gillette. I'm a resident of Harrison. I live in New York City. I'm not familiar with Mr. Zimmer. This is completely independent from what I've seen from all this. I've been an intern, an unpaid member of the production department for 5 years. Throughout my high school career, I'm currently in college. I'm studying this right now. What I don't understand is, Glendora just stated that she's not able to produce her program in Harrison, and that's not fair. She's having her show air, but show aired in Harrison, but she's not able to produce it. The reason she's not able to produce it, from what I understand here, is she has been banned or is not permitted to use the Harrison facilities because of this disruption. Now, this is the first time I've seen this paper here. And what I am not sure about is there are 3 people, 3 production staff members who are covering the entire town of Portchester and Harrison. 6 public access shows at least, sports, all kinds of different programming, and plus 3 or 4 regular interns who come in from wherever from their regular jobs to help with the production of this. And that makes for 3 very busy people. And
Well, maybe that they should increase their staff.
well, I'm not at issue to understand that. I'm just an intern. But what I'm saying is that I think Cablevision, I think especially the integrity of Mr. Waxman, Matt Waxman, is being really treated unfairly. I think whatever situation that had arisen before this, if they were busy, if there was a problem with the equipment, from my personal experiences with Anthony, Chuck, and Matt, and everyone in the production department, has been that they will do everything they can to help to, reschedule that time. Now, I cannot have, in 4 years of knowing Matt Waxman, and also as a personal friend, I have never heard him raise his voice to anyone, ever. And if he was upset over something, he was trying to fix it. And I've seen him deal with Glendora and her program, and on the 4 or 5 occasions that I've seen him do it, he has gone out of his way to help Glendora with the production of her program.
But you haven't seen him recently. You're referring to something from last summer.
No, I see him. I see him every week. I saw him today. I worked with him on 3 productions.
I don't know where we're going with this.
I just have something to say to him. If they have 3 people on the staff, I am really happy because I don't require any of those people on the staff once I get there. I do my own editing. I'm a help to them. All they got to do is have equipment set up, 5 minutes.
Okay, then, Glendora, what you want to do is you want to get back to being able to use facility. Mike, is there anything we can do to make that arrangement?
I welcome her back using the facility. The only thing I ask is that she follow the rules.
Are the rules any different now than they were when she was there before?
Follow the rules.
Are the rules any different now than they were when she was there before? You have a problem with that?
I have no problem with that. I don't see any rules to be followed. I would like to see them follow the rules, keep their appointments, have the equipment available, have the equipment operable, and
I thought we covered all of that.
I thought we did too, but you didn't see Mr. Zimmer sign the letter and send it back to me.
That
And
letter
resume on
is
March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, you didn't see that happen. I have been 2 months without any editing. And I've been producing my program somewhere else. Sometimes I have to pay for it to be produced and edited.
And is it continuing to be aired on?
Oh, yes. And it's always a brand new program. We never have a rerun. Never. And it's a very important program, folks. It's a program to help children stay away from dope and suicide by seeing all these successful executives, how they started, and they started out at the same level the kids did. They started at the very same level and they made it. In fact, the second said, and he's the vice chairman of Procter & Gamble, and he said, look, kids, he says, if I did it, anybody can do it. That's what the kids have to hear.
Glendora, alternate one, Mr. Zimmer, in the spirit of what Glendora just said, she shares a very vital public necessity. There's a little enough of this around, we should have more of it around, right? It's positive. You have no complaints about the show, I presume, right?
I've appeared on the show myself.
Great. In that spirit, alternate one, Glendora, you read alternate one on your page 50. Is it not acceptable? You seem like to be a person who lives by the rules. Mr. Zimmer's made you an offer, 3 alternates. Take alternate one and run.
Well, are these offers mutually exclusive?
No, they work on both sides. And good.
No, I mean, if I take one, I can't take 2 and 3?
Alternate one seems
To me, the letter was ambiguous. I wasn't quite sure about that.
Alternate one says you'll be back just the way you were, working the way it was before the personal dispute.
So if I take 1, I can't have 3? Is that what it's saying?
Which says you may continue to request access time and supplies with the finished tape. You have a choice. I presume she can do that too if she wants?
Certainly.
Yes, you can take 1, 2, and 3 like a Chinese menu. Glendora, why don't we kiss and make up? Let's get this over with.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Zimmer? We go back to work tomorrow? Okay?
Mike, don't leave.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Item number 19.
Not resolved. Therefore, felt there's nothing I can do to talk about this issue on the phone personally. The appropriate forum is right here, so I ask that she come back to the town meeting and see if we can tonight resolve the issue, so it's fair and equitable for all parties. And that's why I put it on the agenda.
Your Honor.
Thank you. You know, tomorrow night you're not meeting, so you can watch the chat with Glendora.
Well, we're going to change the meeting night so we can watch it.
Channel 45, Wednesday night. She says, this is a boy. He says, that's okay, that was my second choice.
You proved it, Joe.
Your affection. Newspaper? Newspaper? Anybody from the newspaper? Anybody else from the newspaper? Okay. To the board, to the town board from Glendora, I appeared before this board 2 years ago, 2 weeks ago, and all I ask is to be allowed to have the cooperation of our cable company the way it used to be. I would like to do my editing as I used to do it, and I would like to do my editing every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m., commencing April the 21st, 1989, 4 to 6 p.m. this Friday, and for every Friday for a period of 1 year. And I ask the board to approve this.
Glendora, where would you do the editing?
At Purdy Street.
At Purdy Street Studio? Any bench request to cable?
No. In that sense, I haven't. No, in this sense, I haven't.
Did you give Mr. Zimmer a copy of this letter?
No.
We're just receiving it now, and he's unaware that this paragraph is available to him.
Well, I've been asking for this for a long time.
This is the same issue, right? This is the issue that we've been laboring over for a long time.
Has he contacted you this last week or 10 days?
He called me on Wednesday or Thursday, and he said we'll have to have a meeting. And I said that we've had 1 meeting and nothing came from it, and we've had 2 meetings and nothing came from it, and the 3rd meeting, nothing would come from it. That on the first
You
meeting,
made a presumption that nothing would come from the third.
nothing came from the first meeting, nothing came from the second.
Glendora, by us adopting this statement.
Let me just get something. And Glendora, you know that this is factual. I'm not familiar with the contract itself, but there's a difference in the equipment that's used. Isn't there a problem with this editing where they have a different size equipment of some kind?
No, there's no problem at all.
That is not a problem?
This is what an obstacle that they're trying to make you think is a problem. It is not a problem at all. What problem is there to set up a machine in 5 minutes?
Okay.
Equipment they
Wait a
already
minute, I
have.
was there at the meeting, so I know what we talked
Of
about.
equipment that they already have and that I do all my own editing in. So what problem is that? Is it just an obstacle they're trying to make you think it's a problem?
Glendora, what weight is this going to carry?
Can we pass? What's
We
our
can pass it, but I don't know.
No, but can this board go on in favor of?
I would be a recommendation.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
the
if
point.
we have the new laws with the cable company. I don't know what powers we have.
Martha,
Anyone can telephone them.
Mr. Schreier, this issue may end up being legal. I was hoping it wouldn't, but, before we take any action. I know it's not fair to ask you this evening because you're not familiar with the franchise agreement, but do you think we as a board have the right to resolve that they immediately reinstate Glendora's use of the equipment, as it were, on the date stated? In other words, she wants to revert back to doing work the way she used to do before this personal dispute took place. And we don't even want to get into that this evening. That's really an issue we should put aside because, it's been beat to death. Can we just, by resolution?
I don't think you can unilaterally do it. I think what you can claim, if you wish, is that the cable company is in violation of the contract.
Well, that's
by not
where the
allowing
legal aspect is going to come in.
that by not allowing her to do that. But at this point, I don't think you can make that determination without hearing both sides.
Mr. Supervisor, you met with Ms. Zimmer, is it? Zimmer? Are you convinced that this issue cannot be resolved amicably without us?
No, I'm not.
So,
As a matter of fact,
what does it take to resolve it with this gentleman?
I think it takes a little give on both sides.
I have a question for Glendora. Why are they opposing you so much? What is the reason?
Because they were wrong about what they did and this is a cover-up.
So would it be better for them to say, well, okay, now, the board spoke last week, we're all behind you, we're all in your favor, we all want you to continue your program. We want the TV to operate with you. And have you spoken at all since the last meeting? Have you spoken to Mr. Zimmer since the last meeting?
The way it is Mr. Zimmer is to call me up and say, yes, you can go back to editing. That's the way it is.
Well, did he call you and say that there had to be excuse me, Glendora, didn't he say that there had to be an understanding?
No, he didn't. He didn't call me back and say we can go back to editing, and that's what he should have done. He called and stalled again and says we got to go to another meeting. And another meeting is just going to be like the first 2 meetings. I said I don't see the necessity for a third meeting.
Well, would you be willing to have a third meeting so we can resolve this?
No, what I want Mr. Zimmer to do is to resume the editing.
I'm running the meeting, Glendora. You please.
Pat, I wasn't pleased with the way you ran the meeting last
I know
time.
you weren't.
I didn't get my say.
And you didn't get your way.
I didn't get my say.
Or your way. Now, look, let's hold on. Are you opposed to another meeting in my office?
Yes, I am. It got nowhere. And you saw what happened.
I tried.
Pat, I told you to try, and I thanked you. But where did it get? He gave his word that he would do it, and then he went back on his word. And I thought it was settled last town board meeting, and it wasn't. So what's the third meeting going to accomplish?
I don't know, but maybe something will come out of it. Why are you opposed
I
to a
don't
third
think
meeting?
a third meeting is necessary. I think what is necessary now is for Mr. Zimmer to face the wrong that they did and to resume the editing.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm not sure
that we have that authority.
personal issue, because obviously it's deep, it's rooted, and it's long-lasting, and the longer they last, the worse they get. So that's why I would like to know if we can just... Glendora is a public service. She provides a service on cable. We want to encourage public use of cable. There's a problem. Glendora is not allowed to use the facilities the way she used to. She comes before us and asks our help in getting her to use the facilities. Can we, when we went into this cable franchise, obviously the public use of facilities was a very important element of it. We discussed it at length. She's been prohibited from using the facilities at 4 to 6 p.m. on Fridays the way she did for a long, long time, for years. We don't know who said what to whom, and it can't be resolved amicably, evidently. Can we not tell the manager that we expect this citizen of our community to use the facilities the way she used to use the facilities?
I heard the management indicating that it sounded like a personal kind of problem, and not necessarily one of what is right or wrong under the contract. I heard from one side, one side was abusive and the other side was.
How do you solve personal disputes?
Well, I don't think you solve them by just ramming somebody down somebody else's
Yeah, but months have
throat.
gone by and she's been the loser here. And she's doing community service. She's not able to perform.
Again, until you get to the facts as to who may be wrong, I can't give you a legal
You may
opinion.
not be able to resolve it.
Basically, if somebody comes in and does what they're supposed to do and there is no problem with it, then the cable company is wrong.
Well, that's
If
what
on
you
the
want
other
to do.
hand, that person comes in and is abusive and disruptive, then it may not be.
That's
okay.
behind us. Glendora is saying to us she's willing and wanting and desiring to go back to work under very appropriate standards the way she used to. We can't settle this personal dispute. You understand? the
Charlie,
problem?
you don't know the background, be careful.
No, but I'm saying, you've had a meeting, and evidently you thought you settled it, and it wasn't settled. We had Glendora here before us 2 weeks ago. We asked Mr. Zimmer to please kiss and make up, as I recall saying, thinking stupidly.
Glendora
that
would
people
kiss?
would kiss and make up. Well, obviously it didn't happen.
Glendora, would you kiss
We
him
want to
now?
get Glendora back to work.
Seriously, Glendora, would you talk to Mr. Zimmer and try and get this thing resolved?
If Mr.
You know, if one phone call could resolve it, I mean, that's all it takes.
Phone call from him.
Possibly from you to Mr. Zimmer. Would that matter? As long as you get your editing done when you want it.
But Mr. Zimmer called me last night, and he didn't offer to go back to the editing. He just wanted another meeting.
But he agreed to do the editing at the last meeting.
Yeah, right, and he agreed to do it in Pat's office too, the meeting before.
And so far, he
hasn't done
he's
it.
reneged twice.
Did you go there last Friday to edit?
No,
You did not go last Friday. When's the last time that you went down to the studio?
February the 3rd.
And what happened?
That's when that's when I was abused. That's when the equipment wasn't ready, it wasn't available, it was hooked up wrong. And Matt went back on his word about cleaning up the program, and then that's when he harassed me for 28 minutes.
Mr. Supervisor, I think we should go on record as being support of Glendora in her request that she be permitted to use the studio at 2 hours on a Friday. And I think that we can't order him to do it, but we can certainly make a motion that we are simply with her because she is a public servant, does do public service for the public, does put on a program which the public seems to like, and that we are in support, that we want him to make every effort he can to accommodate her. And that's part of it. After
What
that,
happens if he refuses?
Then
What we good is
have-
that motion then?
then we have
to know if he refuses, if we
then
don't do
we
something,
then we have to
every
refer
Wednesday night
to
discuss it.
the contract or to see whether or not there is a legal right that she has to use the studio. I believe there is a legal right. That was part of the contract, that the public had a right to use the studio. That's how, give them the effort that we are in support, and
Well,
then go for
I
it.
don't think it really becomes a legal question. I think there's a clear right to public access and the public channel and all of that. The question is whether that right is abused on one side or the other side. And that's really what it boils down to. Now, if the company is abusing her, they're wrong. And then there's a legal right. If she's abusing the company, she's wrong. And there's a legal right.
It's behind
But
us.
right now, apparently from what I heard from the last meeting, they were saying they were willing to do it. Now, I don't know if anything happened since that last meeting.
He did call.
Well, he only called after I called Norma and told her I hadn't heard from anybody. Norma called him, and then he called me. And then instead of saying it's all over, you can come back on Friday, he said, let's have another meeting. That's
Well,
certainly
maybe he just wants to set some ground rules, but it seemed to me at the last meeting he was more receptive to doing it than adverse to doing it.
He was very receptive to doing it in Pat Angarano's office.
Well, I think
It
it
was
may
all
be,
settled
may
then.
be worth another try.
Glendora, after Pat Engel's meeting, did you go back to the studio?
No.
Oh, you didn't go back?
No, he was supposed to sign the letter that we wrote down in Pat's office, the very words that he would accept. I said, Pat says, Glendora, you write this letter. So I started writing the letter, and I said it in the very words that he would accept. And he was supposed to sign it and send it back to me. That never happened.
Did he send you another letter of any kind?
Terrible letter, yeah.
Oh, he did? Do you have a copy of that?
Yes, I gave it to you last board meeting.
The second letter?
Pages 50 and 51, 52 and 3, I think.
Is that what your parody is on this, 50 and 51? Is that
Yes,
what
it
we're
is,
on now?
Pat.
Glendora, let me ask you a question. I really hope that we never see you again in this format. you know, we can see it on television, but really, we want to get this over. Oh, no. You are willing to go back and use the facilities the way you used to before this so-called quote issue took place. Is that your understanding?
Not only willing, that's what I desire.
Okay. Then I think we should be willing to communicate that to Mr. Zimmer, that Glendora is prepared to go back and use the facilities before the incident took place. And therefore ask him, or request of him, that she be allowed to begin this Friday at 4 p.m. to use the facilities the way she heretofore used to use them. Can't we ask Mr. Zimmer, or request of Mr. Zimmer that be done?
Well, the whole discussion started because I requested.
But he didn't do it.
He did come to the meeting. He was in on the meeting. He was at the meeting. He was in our meeting.
Yeah, but he didn't
That was
use
at my
the
request.
facilities.
Did I set that up?
Of course you did.
It was at the town board meeting at my request.
Thank you for
2 weeks
doing
ago.
it.
Yeah.
Now, I would be very happy to make a phone call. I'd be very happy to have him come in.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion that this board support Glendora's request that she be permitted to use the studio on Fridays from 4 to 6, as she has in the past, and that the board is completely behind her in our support, and that if he cannot give her this time, that we will, at that time, unleash our attorneys.
I didn't know we were leashed.
They're going to look for a legal solution.
No, but you should be sometimes.
They will look for a legal solution.
I think, as far as Freddie with the unleashing of attorneys, what certainly
Why don't we
just let me call Mike again, Mike Zimmer, who was the manager of Mrs. Tyler's. And Glendora, it's a give and take proposition. We both know that.
Well, what do you think I'm not giving?
I'm not going to get into details. I'm telling you that both sides have taken a hard position. And the only way it's going to be solved is if somebody on each of the sides gives a little bit.
Well, I like what Mr.
Well,
Sino said.
I knew you would.
Yeah. I like that.
I support what Mr. Zino said, if it would help get the issue addressed and resolved. If that's what's necessary, I would second the motion. My only interest, Pat, is for you to get Mr. Zimmer on the phone and to say, look, Glendora's agreed to come back and put bygones behind us. Let her use the facilities this Friday. And forget what took place, because if we get into that discussion, it's never going to be resolved. Forget it, don't even discuss it. We weren't there, we don't know what took place.
I will take the direction of the board, but by the same token, you have to be fair to, in this case, a vendor.
No, but we don't want to say who's right or wrong. There are no rights or wrongs on this.
I'm saying they're both wrong and they're both right.
Okay, so therefore don't discuss it. All we want to do is she wants to go back as it used to be before the incident.
I think we should have the motion as a legal record.
All right, what's second? That doesn't fly.
Well, it shows that the board is completely supportive of Glendora.
We've been in support of her ever since Glendora's been here.
And I was
that's not the
supportive of
issue.
it when Glendora came in for the first meeting.
She has met with the supervisor. That's support in itself. Your motion won't fly with cable commission.
We could be at this all night long. I will make a call tomorrow to the manager and urge him strongly to resolve this and permit you to be there on Friday between 4 and 6 p.m.
Possibly be a little stronger, and maybe we'll threaten them to call their superiors, and maybe we can resolve it out in Long Island instead of here in Harrison, because that's where the home office is.
He evidently has some support from his superiors.
The superiors haven't heard the whole story. They haven't heard
Well,
my
I'm just
side.
telling you at this point, though, Glendora, he does have support from his
Superior, how can he have support when the superiors haven't asked him to meet from my side?
We should learn from this, put Glendora aside for a moment. But obviously, there are things that could come up and happen that really shouldn't be resolved by this board, having to do with cable. And we talked about this cable committee of ours. Could we reconstitute it and get it reactivated so that issues like this could be automatically addressed before that committee? We have a committee on record. These are the kinds of issues that should go to the committee, and they should try to resolve them, and where they cannot, at least make a recommendation of the facts to the board, because It takes an awful lot of effort on us to find out the details of these issues. Can we ask our cable TV committee to reconstitute and let us know whether they're alive and well, whether they want to continue to serve, whether it's a chairperson, and if not, we can reappoint. Because Glendora also made some accusations or claims that there are things that the cable company should be doing that they are not doing. Without getting into them, this is where the cable committee should monitor and audit their performance and advise us that things are not going well, such as their office is not open on the hours that they're supposed to, and the phones, you know. We have to get the cable committee back on track. Don't we want a cable TV committee? All communities have it. Okay?
I have no objection to cable.
Okay, let's try to get them reconstituted and see if they still exist.
Not only that, Charlie, but we're at the mercy of Cablevision. We can't even get the Yankee games on Channel 3 anymore.
That's another issue.
It's not fair to us. It's not fair to, you know,
Wisdom. That's an important issue.
but if we had a cable committee, possibly they could help resolve something. I know it's a monetary thing.
This is a contract negotiation with the Yankees.
We can't even get the Yankees anymore.
Look, I'd like to know, wait just a second, I'd like to know what has happened, how is it resolved? You're going to call
Mike Zimmer and request of him very strongly that he be permitted there on Friday afternoon to do whatever it is you do and have it done.
All right, when will I hear from him?
From whom?
You.
Right after I called him?
Okay, and you're having mine like Wednesday or Thursday?
Today's Tuesday? Sure.
Then you will call me?
Glendora, I said you will hear from me right after I speak to him. The next phone call after that will be to you. Do
I
have
have
your
called
number?
you 8 times and you haven't returned my call.
Because I had nothing on this subject matter. It was your call that prompted Mike to call you. I called Mike to call you. And it was something that you two people were going to say. But I will call you. Do I have your number? Is it here?
Yeah, 949.
Oh, okay. All right, it's on.
9495.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is...
we hope that this is the last of it.
12B.
So, how was this finally resolved? Well, Mayor Supervisor Pat Angarano did call Michael Zimmer and did arrange a meeting in Mayor Angarano's office. Glendora had about 10 minutes notice on that. She had to put in her teeth and get dressed and go to Harrison to the mayor's office, and there was an amicable agreement, and Anthony Giordano called Glendora, and the new editing dates were set up, and everything was very, very good the rest of 1989, and January 1990, and February 1990, and March. And now in April of 1990, things are erupting again. So we'll have to see how that comes out. So this is Chat with Glendora, and right now we're going to show you very, very cute kitty cats. Harmony and her family of 5. So just stay tuned. Here's Harold. He's the only brother. Harold? And right here, that again is Hazel. No, that's Hattie. That's Hazel. It's Mummy, maybe. Yeah, this is Mummy down. Come on, Mummy. Here comes Mummy.
Now they're going to eat.
Now, that's good. This is their 6th whole dish.
Can you, here comes Mommy, maybe Mommy will. That's Hattie. And of course that's Happy. And of course this is Harold. Harold. Who's that little tyke there? That's Hannah.
Here.
That's Happy. Hannah. And climbing up the screen is Hattie. No, that would have to be Hazel. Hazel has white gloves and white sneakers. And the hands are Nancy Crosby. And this is Harold. He should be on Sesame Street to teach him to count to 5. They run about 45 miles an hour, chasing each other. No speed limit. And this is at 211 Nelson Road in Scarsdale, New York. On Sunday, June the 12th, at 9 a.m. on our 8th day of sunshine.